Two, one. Welcome back to What's Not Sport, guys. I'm Will O'Connor. I'm your host. Really excited for this one. I'm going to apologise in advance for those AFL fans. It's not going to be very AFL focused. I'll do my round review and my picks for next week, but that's about it. I don't have a lot to say about it this week. I've got too much to cover with the NRL, Origin. A lot of things have gone down this week, so I'm really excited to talk about that. I also want to apologise. I only have one camera angle today, but that's okay. I'm sure you guys will forgive me. But yeah, I don't know why the camera's set so far back, but that's okay. Please forgive me. And yeah, we got a new segment. This is why I am filming a couple of days late. This will come out on Thursday morning rather than Tuesday morning, which is a bit disappointing. But I'm really excited for this one and the new segment we've got. So rightio, I'm just going to jump straight into it. I had a very poor week of tipping AFL this week. I got one tip out of the 8. I thought I had more than that. But yeah, I didn't. The only one I got right was Collingwood this week. So, kick it off, we had Gold Coast versus Hawks. Apparently, I said the wrong team last week. I apologise. But the Gold Coast got the win. It was only about 8 points. Was a slow first half for the Hawks. So, yeah, narrowly lost, but they should have been better, in all honesty. We then had Sydney, Carlton. I tipped Carlton, and they were nowhere, one might say. But, yeah, Sydney got the win there. Then had Collingwood and the Crows. Collingwood got the win there. GWS versus Freo. I actually thought I tipped Freo. I didn't. I tipped GWS. And unfortunately, Freo won. So, yeah, tipping not good. Actually, I take that back. I had two wins this week. We had Port versus Geelong. I did tip Geelong, and they got the win. The Dogs versus Essendon. I tipped Essendon. The Dogs got the win there. Richmond versus Melbourne. I thought Richmond would get a win. Unfortunately for me, they did not. I then had Brisbane versus... it was Richmond versus North Melbourne. I apologise for that. And I had Richmond to win. North Melbourne got the win there. And then I had Brisbane versus Melbourne. And I thought Brisbane, being won the comp last year, they would win again, but obviously they didn't, with Melbourne getting win there and then West Coast getting the win over St Kilda. So 2 out of 8 tips, not good at all by me, especially for AFL, but that's all right. We'll kick on into next week. We have Geelong versus West Bulldogs, Essendon versus Richmond, Carlton versus GWS, Hawthorn versus the Lions, North Melbourne versus Collingwood, Fremantle versus Port, Adelaide versus West Coast, Melbourne versus Sydney, and St Kilda versus Gold Coast. I got Geelong to beat the Bulldogs, Essendon to beat Richmond, Carlton to beat GWS, Hawthorn to win against the Lions. That's probably my roughest pick for the week. They're both, well, Hawks have been good, lost some games that they probably should have won. Same with Brisbane. When Brisbane's on, they are absolutely firing, but when they're not on, it's a little bit concerning for them. So, but still early in the season, both very young teams, so it'll be an interesting game. Should be good, but I think the Hawks will get done there. We then have North Melbourne versus Collingwood. Collingwood will go there. They're just being such a strong force at the moment. We have Freo versus Port. Freo's going to get the win there. They're going to back up after last week's win. We have the Crows versus West Coast. The Crows are going to get the win there. Melbourne versus Sydney. Sydney will win there. And St Kilda versus Gold Coast. And the form the Gold Coast is in, it's hard not to pick the Suns. So I'm back in the Gold Coast. In recent news in AFL, I guess, not quite top grade. In the last week or two, Guy Sebastian was playing for a local team that hadn't won a game for over a season and a half. During that game, he did a halftime show performance to promote the team, and it was all going really well until he snapped his Achilles playing for the team. So If you haven't seen the video, he's just running, change direction, and you can hear a sound that almost sounds like faint gunshot. And that was actually his Achilles snapping. So, poor bloke, trying to help out a local team, and it did not end too well for him. But that's, as I said, I'm going to wrap up AFL there. Get into the next bit. This is for those surf life-saving surf sports athletes. It was announced on Wednesday, which is today as I'm recording, which will be yesterday when this podcast drops. Aussies 2026 will be at North Kira again. And it will take place 21st to the 29th of March. So another week or two earlier than what it was last season. I don't know how I feel about that. I love and hate North Kira. It can be a good beach. It can be bad, but oh man, it's just a tricky beach. A lot of people would rather have it at Broad Beach. I'm one of those people, but it's now just going to go down to flat water grind. Who does the work in the off season, pre-season, and yeah, but I think a lot of athletes will be disappointed with that. But anyway, it is what it is. We move on. We do what we need to do to get the job done, and I'll see all of you at Aussies next year at North Kira again. Now, that's all the news I've got for now. I want to really kick it into the NRL. We've had a massive 10 or 11 days of news and big things coming. I'm just going to have a drink of water first. So, NRL, if you're watching the video, watching the pod and the visual with it, I'm in a Raiders Hawaiian-style jersey. Well, button-up, I should say. Party shirt, one might say. I am very happy. My team's back. They struggled last week, but we're back. So, let's do a round review. We had Knights versus Eels, Bulldogs versus Roosters, Dolphins versus the Warriors, North Queensland versus Manly, the Sharks versus Storm, Bronx versus Dragons, the Raiders versus Titans, and the Tigers versus Rabbitohs. In my opinion, a week full of upsets, and it was straight from the get-go. We had Knights versus Eels, and both teams haven't had the best of form, but I was positive the Knights would smash the Eels. I tipped the Knights. I got it wrong. The Eels steamrolled them. We then had Bulldogs versus Roosters. Good thing I said I backed the Bulldogs after their win over the Raiders. I know I'm still a bit sore after that loss, but I tipped them. The Bulldogs got the win over the Roosters. We then had Dolphins versus Wars. It was a home game for the Dolphins. 2 points in it. Controversy. I believe it was a knock-on by the Wars, but obviously stuff happens. It is what it is. We play on. So the Wars got the win there. We then had the Cowboys versus Manly. Oh man, I was disappointed in this. I really thought the Cows were going to win, especially being at home. Unfortunately, the Manly Sea Eagles got the win over them. We then had Sharks versus Storm. I tipped the Storm, and I think to everyone's surprise, it was an awesome game. But the Sharks got the win, and it was a great win for them. So another tip I got wrong. And then we had Broncos Dragons, and I think we all thought, here we go, the Broncos will probably steamroll the Dragons, and they were quite dominant in that first half. But no, the Dragons got a win, 2-point win there. Well, won by 2 points, but yeah, a very close game, a very exciting game, but very disappointing for Broncos supporters. Not me though, because I don't follow the Broncos up the milk, and we'll get onto that now. Canberra Raiders versus Titans. Canberra Raiders steamrolled the Titans, came up with some awesome tries. We would have beaten by more if Jamal Fogarty converted about 3 or 4 tries, but they were tricky on the sideline, but we absolutely steamrolled them. But it was a good clinic from the Raiders. I won't touch too much on it. I think you guys are sick of me talking Raiders. And we then finished the week off with Tigers versus Rabbitohs, and the Rabbitohs won. I had them tipped. So I'm a very happy chap when it comes to that. Now, next week, it's a very short week because we have Origin. I love Origin. We'll touch on that in a second. But yes, only 5 games instead of the 8. There's 5 teams on a bye, so very, very sad about how short the round will be, but it is what it is. We get Origin instead, and Origin is my favourite kind of footy. Let's kick it off. We got the Bulldogs, the Doggies versus Dolphins, the Eels versus Sea Eagles, the Panthers versus Knights, the Roosters versus Sharks, and the Warriors versus Raiders. Now, I'll say it all right now. I'm going every single away team to win. The hardest win will be Game 1, Bulldogs versus Dolphins. It's a Doggies home game. The Dolphins need to turn up. They have shown that they can have great form, but they have shown us great form, and they've shown us that they have the capabilities of it. We just need to see it consistently. And the Doggies, they're the top of the ladder. This is the Dolphins' chance to prove that they are a team that is top 8 worthy. And this is also the Doggies' chance to stomp out any doubts of them being on the top of the ladder. If they get beaten by Dolphins, everyone, well, not everyone, but quite a few people will go, "Are the Doggies pretenders?" We'll find out after this weekend, I think, but I'm backing the Fins. Fins up. We then have Eels versus Manly. Manly steamrolls Eels there. Sorry to the Parramatta supporters. I know there's a couple of you that watch the podcast. Yeah, it's not happening for you guys. Sorry. Yep. No DCE this week. So, but other than that, they got a pretty good team. So Manly to win. Penrith versus Knights. Now this was a very tricky pick for me. I was thinking of going Panthers. I was thinking of going Knights. The Panthers have quite a few players out due to Origin. They're missing 3, I believe. Yo, Cleary, and Edwards. So, and I think, maybe Toto. I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me have a cheeky little look on that one. But what I'm saying is that there is quite a few away from Penrith, and at the moment they're not showing their capabilities. They really don't seem like they're showing why they're at the bottom of the ladder at the moment. They're just coming off a bye, so I could be wrong. They could be absolutely fired up and ready to steamroll the Knights, but I also feel like it's a 50-50. Yeah, so, yeah. Toto is also playing Origin like he always does. So, yeah, there's about 4 of them that are out for Penrith. So I think that leaves some gaps for the Knights to potentially win. No Kalen Ponga, as he's playing Origin for Queensland, but I'm going to back the Knights here. So, yeah, Knights to win. We then have the Roosters versus Sharks. Sharkies' form incredible after last week beating the Storm, so I don't think the Roosters will pose much of a threat. And to finish off the round, another Sunday night game. The Warriors versus the Raiders. Home game for the Wars. But the Raiders are just too good, in my opinion. I know the Wars are sitting a bit higher on the ladder, but they didn't beat us in round 1 in Vegas. They're not going to stop us in their motherland of New Zealand, so up the milk. So, to conclude on that, every single away team is winning this week. If you don't believe it, just wait till you see it. Now let's move on to we've got a lot of news in the world of NRL. So it's been announced in the last 10 days, the 4 teams going to Vegas in 2026. We got the Knights, Cowboys, Bulldogs, and Dragons. The 4 teams that are quite an interesting mix. Uh, I don't know how it will go. I guess the Cowboys is a good pick due to the NFL. Dallas Cowboys, I believe, is the team over there, so they could do something together with that. But it's quite an interesting bunch. The doggies got a great fan base, so yeah, very interesting. It'll be exciting to see the turnout for that and what the go is. But every year, the last 2 years, they've looked amazing in Vegas, and it's just going to get better and better. So hopefully, those four teams, it'll be a great game. Well, great games, I should say. I believe there's no women's international this time after the Gillaroos absolutely destroyed the English girls. So yeah, unfortunately, we won't. I don't think we're seeing international women's at Vegas, which I was excited to see it again. I was hoping it'd be the Aussies versus Kiwis because that would be a really good matchup. But it is what it is. Play on, I guess. In other news, the Perth Bears, there has been a lot of interest of coming about coaching. So we've got Brad Arthur looking at it. Kevy Walters, after being sacked by the Bronx, he's had this year off. He's doing a lot of commentating work, and he has expressed his interest on live television, saying that he would be keen to coach the Perth Bears. Also, Sam Burgess. That's really interesting to see him get back into some coaching and back around the NRL scene. And then the biggest one that I saw on NRL 360 last week was Mal Meninga. He has expressed interest in doing that. That means his role in the Australian team will go away, and he does have a role at the moment in the Canberra part of being like a youth selector type thing, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Mal Meninga to go over to Perth. That's what I've heard of, and my source being NRL 360. So but don't believe what Buzz says. Though they say. Good news for Raiders fans. Corey Harawira-Naera, he's cleared to come back to NRL after 2 years off after that tragic game where he had a seizure on field. I hope we get to see him again, but at the same time, I don't want him to come back and we see that something similar happen and it, well, potentially causes permanent health issues for the guy. But he was a fantastic footy player. His contract ends, I think, at the end of this year or next year. So whatever we see, I am excited. I do love watching him play, so I hope he does come back. But I don't. But if he does, I hope he doesn't risk his health. In other news, we got Brandon Smith has been granted an official immediate release from the Roosters mid-season to go to the Bunnies. So when he's injury-free and cleared to play, he will be now playing in a green, white, and red jersey. So that'll be very interesting. While we're on the topic of Brandon Smith, he did release to the media that and said something about DCE is going to the Roosters. And that quite surprised me, as I said, I believe he would be going to the Dolphins as my front-running pick, and then I said Titans. DCE then has confirmed that he has been in talks with both the Roosters and Dolphins, but nothing has come from it yet. So I still do believe that DCE will be going to the Dolphins. His dad did play, I think it was Brisbane Cup for the Dolphins, so and he's got family up here, so that's my front runner. But we'll see what happens. Dominic Young has now been recalled to the wing by the Roosters, so after his whole debacle about maybe going back to the Knights, and yeah, a bit of confusion there. He's back on the wing this weekend. As of today, Lockie Galvin has been granted permission to go negotiate with other rival clubs about where he wants to see for his future. And there is a lot of guidelines and rules he has to follow that the Tigers are putting into sanction. I'm not aware of all of them, but from what I've heard, that's what the go is. Now, I've got a bit of Broncos news. We've got a lot of Broncos news happening at the moment in the NRL. I'm sure some of you NRL fans has seen this. So the first one I want to touch about was today, yesterday on Reece Walsh's social media. It's a video of Reece Walsh playing around with his mate, and he's got a boxing glove and he's punching him. It was just a challenge, TikTok, dumb thing, and now it's got into the media and it is gone atomic almost, blowing up in it. He's already said in a press release that he obviously doesn't condone violence. He's just playing around with a mate just for a video. Like, at the same, there's two sides to this. At the same time, I'm going, you're an idiot. But he's at the same time going, he's just a regular bloke that's on TikTok that's just having fun. Like, why? Just because he's, yes, NRL players should be held to a different standard, higher standard, because they're in the eyes of the public and they are considered a role model to these kids. But Reece Walsh is still quite young, and so him doing things that like TikTok trends and things like that are so common, and he's getting plenty of backlash from it from both media and fans of NRL. I also don't think that's quite fair. I think they just got to acknowledge that it's just TikTok and it's not that deep. But as I said, we got NRL players are held to a higher standard as a lot of kids and people look up to them as role models. In other news, we had Ezra Mann back playing this week after his 9-week ban. He was banned for 9 weeks. Came back this weekend, which was round 11. Played a great game of footy. And he was fined $100,000 for driving unlicensed under the influence and crashing into a car with a mother and daughter in it. It's pretty full-on stuff from him. Should he be able to play footy? Should he be locked up in jail? It's a tricky one. It looks like NRL players, when they do something quite criminal, they're getting let off the hook. And yes, I understand that the standards are, if you can be rehabilitated, actually genuinely know what you have done is wrong and come back, be remorseful, pay your fine, do your time. But if it was just a regular bloke, that'd be locked up in jail. So I don't know if a 9-week ban and $100K fine was enough for Ezra Mann. Obviously, he is a great footy player, but it's the ethics around it and the morality around it. What if he did kill these guys, did kill the mother or daughter in that car accident? Is it he's going to jail, or does he still get let off the hook because he's an NRL player? But yeah, it's a very tricky situation right now. Tell me what you think about it. But yeah, me personally, I think he should have at least been slapped with a harder charge and 9 weeks off NRL and $100K fine and rehabilitation. So yeah. And in other news, Martin Tuapa has been sacked by the Broncos after liking a post about Michael Maguire and how he coaches, how he can be full on, things like that. But he gets sacked and I understand the Broncos are looking going, Ezra Mann is such a great footy player. There's no doubt about that. They want him for the future because he will be a fantastic footballer for years to come. And if they can look after him, he'll never leave them. If they show him loyalty, he'll show loyalty back. Tapua is at the end of his career, has only played one game of NRL A grade this year, was dropped to reserve. Apparently, he only played 40 minutes. He met his 40-minute quota of the game he had to play in reserve and then left and didn't stick around for the end, which is quite disappointing stuff. But as I said earlier, it's the morality and ethics behind it. You're sacking someone who's liked an Instagram post that's chucking a bit of shade on your coach, on his coach, and but you're bringing back a player that, if it was a regular person, would be locked up right now. So it's very controversial, and a lot of fans can see both points. I see both points, but it's just, as I said, morals and ethics around it all. Let me know your opinion on it, as I said, and I think that's the difference between the two. One's on the back end and is skipping training and he's not doing what he's supposed to, and the other one's at the start and they're going, he's going to be a great talent. But just looking at it as someone who is just a regular person, I'm a regular person. I'm going, what the hell? Like, how is this guy being punished so badly for liking an Instagram post of this? They just wanted a reason to sack this guy. Well, yeah. Broncos, explain. Please explain. Now, on to my favourite bit. It's Origin time, baby. Do I love Origin? Possibly more than any other thing in this world. Origin is the best. So, I'm going to talk about the New South Wales team list. I'm going to talk about Queensland and a few other thoughts and news that I've got going on about that. So, it's Origin time, baby. Rightio. The New South Wales team at fullback, we got Dylan Edwards. We got Brian Toto on the wing, Stephen Crichton in the centre, Latrell Mitt in the centre, Zach Lomax as the other winger. Our 5'8" and our halves, Mitch Moses, Nathan Cleary. Our forwards, we got Mitchell Barnett in the prop, Reece Robinson as hooker, Payne Haas as the other prop. Our second row is Liam Martin, Angus Crichton. And at lock, we've got Isaiah Yeo, and he is the captain of the New South Wales Origin team for Game 1. On the bench, we've got Connor Watson, Spencer Leniu, I think I said that right, Huddy Young, and Max King. And then our extended list with reserves, Campbell Graham, Stefano, I'm not even going to attempt it, Otikamanu, I hope I got that right, and then Hamol Alakawatu. I know I got that last name right, probably not his first, but yes, that is the New South Wales team list right there. I think the biggest thing is Max King getting picked. Obviously a great player. Laurie Daly has stated that he really likes, I think he just has picked him for, he is someone that has Origin spirit is what I picked up from his press interview, but do I agree with Max King getting picked over Terrell May? No, lucky I'm not a New South Wales fan, and lucky for me, as a Queensland fan, we don't have to face another heavy-hitting prop like Payne Haas or Terrell May. Like, they've already got Payne Haas, they don't need May as well. While we're talking Blues, and while I brought up Terrell May, there has been a lot of controversy, and I'm on Terrell May's side the whole way. So May, if you didn't know, May has been copping a lot of slander after he was streaming on Twitch and said something about putting a Blues jersey in the bin. Now, many have interpreted this wrong, very much so the media and New South Wales supporters, and by supporters, I mean those former players. Andrew Johns, Brad Fittler, they have all showed expression of dislike towards poor old Terrell May. So, Terrell May had a little bet with his mate, who is a Queenslander, and he said, if I make Origin, he bought his mate a Blues jersey and said, if I make Origin, you have to wear the Blues jersey. He was then streaming on Twitch and saw that he wasn't on the team. This was before the team list got released properly, so he kind of had an insight or leak. And he goes to his mate, "Hey, bro, you know that Blues jersey I gave you? Yeah, you can just chuck it in the bin. Didn't make it." So he didn't get picked, and all he was saying is, I didn't win the bet. Chuck it out. I've saw that I'm not on the team. I've got a leak, and And that was it. It was just a bet between him and his mate. And, ooh, New South Wales is not happy, might I add, especially Brad Fittler, who has said, and I quote, humble down a bit. Brad Fittler has said that he needs to humble down a bit. I don't think Terrell May has to. He is. You look at the stats, and he is just incredible. I'm not taking anything away from Max King, but I am not. But I am saying Terrell May deserves to be in an Origin side, and that he doesn't need to be copying this hate, especially from guys like Brad Fittler, because now that could potentially ruin him ever getting into Origin, which is quite a shame because he is a great footballer. So, yeah, let me know what you think about that. Now, as of today or last night, the Blues have now called Jacob Preston and Adam Dowie into the Origin camp. They're not listed on the extended squad, and Preston is actually still facing a ban. Well, completing his sentence, which I believe was a 4-week match ban after after being involved in a crusher tackle. He went to fight in the judiciary, and it was originally, I think the charge was 3 weeks, and then he lost and was found guilty, and now it's 4 weeks. That shows that he will most likely be there in game 2 or 3, showing if he does have good form after he comes back after his sentence is complete. And Adam Dewey into Origin camp, I would say the same, that they're looking at bringing him in next in game 2, potentially game 3. Now, enough talking on New South Wales. We're still Queenslanders. We are still Queensland. And let's start the list. So for Queensland, we've got Kalen Ponga, Xavier Coates, and Robert Toa, Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow, and Val Holmes. Ponga at fullback, Coates at winger, Toa at centre, Tabuai-Fidow at centre, and Holmes on the wing. We'll touch on that in a second. I got a few notes about that. We then have it in our halves, Cam Munster and DCE, the iconic pairing of those two. It's going to be, the halves are going to be interesting. Cam Munster missing out last year on game 3 was obviously a big thing. But having him back, him and DCE, they're something different. I'm very excited about that. We then have for Tawaka as prop, Harry Grant as hooker, just standard, and Tino Fasamalawi as prop. For all those listeners that have corrected me and complained about me mispronouncing Tino's last name, Fasamalawi, there you go, got it right. We then have second row Ruben Cotter, and then we have Nanai in there, and then as our lock we got Paddy Carrigan. Obviously, DCE being our captain, our legend, our saviour. We put faith into Billy, and Billy puts faith into DCE. So we'll just keep that running. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Then on the bench, our interchange, we got Tommy Dearden, Lindsay Collins, Beau Fairmore, and Trent Lorio. I stuffed up that. And then on our reserves, we got Kurt Mann, Jesse Arthurs, and Kulakafio Fanafaki. I need to get better at my names, especially last names. But yes, and then for those interested, we got Ashlyn Kine as head referee. Our touch judges is Dave Munro and Phil Henderson, and our senior review official, I believe that's what the bunker is Chris Butler. So that's our Origin lineup. I want to go back, talk about our centres and wings at the moment. First, I want to touch on Robert Toa. 10 games of NRL. He's a rookie. Is this a masterstroke from Billy Slater himself? Or is this something else? I am a little bit worried. You might hear the tiniest tremble of fear in my voice when talking about him. He's got to face a different beast. Oh, I'm sorry. Billy, listen to me, Billy Slater. Are we really putting a rookie against Origin Latrell? Origin Trell Mitt? Billy, look at me. Listen to me. Robert Toa better. He better be a godsend. Because if not, I don't think he's ready for the Trell Mitt Origin beast. But other than that, I put my faith into Billy. We put our faith into Lord Slater. I won't say Lord Slater. We'll say King Billy. We put our faith into it until Billy Slater. Let's hope that's a masterstroke. My other concern is having the Hammer as a centre and having Val Holmes on the wing. The Hammer is one of the fastest in the game, and I love Val Holmes and what he has done for Queensland over the years and years and years of his service, and he is still a great player. But hear me out. If the Hammer makes a line break, I don't know if Val Holmes is quick enough to keep up. I almost feel like Val Holmes should be playing centre and putting the Hammer on the wing, or going, getting rid of, or keeping Hammer in the centres, getting rid of Robert Toa, putting Val Holmes as the other centre, and then putting someone like Cobbo or Xavier Coates on the wing with next to the Hammer. So then we got some ultimate speed. So if the Hammer does make a line break, he then has the support that if he needs to pass or offload, we've got someone there. But we will see. It's Billy. He does everything for a reason, and we will see after game 1. Now I've touched on that. I want to talk a little bit about the Billy press conference on Monday night. Well, Monday. He basically said, "You don't pick Queensland. Queensland picks you." I felt that in the heart. Billy Slater. Billy, he touched me there. I felt something. I felt pride in that. You don't pick Queensland. Queensland picks you. Please remember that forever and always. And I will say the direct quote from Billy on Monday, from William Slater himself. I don't remember picking Queensland as a team. It picked me. So, we are still Queensland. Queenslanders get Origin. And mic drop, thank you. Queensland will win by 40. No, I'm joking. It'll be a very Origin. Yes, I haven't even talked about who I'm tipping. Obviously, Queensland. I think I've done enough glazing for Queensland there. But yeah, it will be a hectic first 30 minutes of the first half, and then Queensland will start to break them open, break New South Wales in the last 10 minutes of the first half, have half time. It'll be another 20 minutes of brutal fighting where Queensland will then strike back after New South Wales score a try in the first 20 minutes of the second half. Queensland will then score 2+ tries in the last 20 minutes of the game. Bang, there you go. Put it in your multi. And let's move on. I want to talk about what the hello... I'm going to piggyback a little bit here. And it's Origin related. I heard it on the Hello Sports podcast today. And they branded it Tiger Dust. And look, Adam Dewey being the... I think it's Adam Dewey being the only Tigers player being picked for Origin. And obviously when they recorded that podcast, there was nothing about him being selected for the team, but he's now been brought into the camp, but obviously I'm not counting that because he's not on that extended 20 list. Appy goes to the Tigers. He stops making Origin. Luai, after being a pivotal player for the New South Wales Origin team last year and a key player in their victory of the series, goes to Tigers. Doesn't get picked. You then got Terrell May, a fantastic player, the best scoring player in fantasy. Oh my gosh, if you have him in your fantasy team, I take my hat off to you. He's gone up like 400k. I don't know how. I need to buy him, but I just don't have that funds. Anyway, he moves to Tigers this season. He's one of the best forwards in the game, and you're not picking him for Origin. Laurie Daly, what are you doing? But yes, that is the Tigers effect. The Tiger Dust as the Hello Sports podcast. Shout out to them. They're doing great stuff. And then another thing I just want to point out before I get onto the new segment is coaches don't like being challenged. I feel a sense here. If they don't like you, they will have a reason. They'll make every reason in the book to not like you anymore. And I think it has been made very clear this week with both Terrell May and Martin Tapu. You slip up and you got a chance to do something, and the moment you slip up, you're gone. Maybe Laurie doesn't like May. Maybe it's just he has another idea. I don't know. Or is this just... But now May's called him out. Tapawai didn't call out, but liked the post about saying things about Madge. Is it challenging their authority or is it something else? I'll leave that up to you. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, hopefully we don't hit an hour. We're at 42 minutes at the moment. We got a new segment. And I don't know why the camera is backwards when I have it front viewing. If you can't see what that says, 2025 NRL trading cards. Each week, I got this idea from Matty Johns and his two sons. Every week they open up a packet and they say this person's going to score a try, put it in your multi. I'm going to do something slightly different. I'll normally open up, so you get five cards per pack. I'm going to open up 3 packs. We got 3 of them. And a little bit of ASMR. We're going to build a multi for, hopefully we have enough players for Origin. I'll pull up the team list for Origin and we'll go 3 try scorers from the pack. I'll put aside and go, that's your 3 that's going to score in Origin, put it in your multi, and then three players that'll score in this round. So let's get started. A little bit of ASMR. Why can't I open these? This is a little bit embarrassing. Oh my gosh, I am struggling here, guys. Sorry. No way, I'm gonna have to get some scissors. Turns out I'm gonna have to get some scissors. Good thing I've got them up here. Always come prepared. Okay. No, that kind of ruins it, but I was excited to open them. So they're both NRL and NRLW. So we got Julia Robinson from the Bronx. David Fafita for the Titans. Ben Hunt, but he's still got a Dragons team uniform on. That's a bit disappointing. No way, we got a special gold card. And it is Ali Brigginshaw from the Bronx, NRLW. And then Max Plath from the Dolphins. So that's the first five. Let's see if I have any luck opening up the second pack without. Yeah, look, scissors are going to be the way to go. Zara Timmer, NRLW for the Raiders. Oh, I think we've got our first multi of Origin, first try scorer of Origin. Tommy Dearden. Another NRLW player from this time from the Sharks, Emma Tomagato. Oh wow. If it wasn't a sign earlier for Origin, we then had the Tommy Dearden gold card limited edition. And then Mitchell Barnett from the Waz. Okay, we're on to our last. Hopefully we get some more cards for Origin. Oh well, we'll build a multi anyway. It's called Don't Being Afraid. It's not being afraid. Okay. Oh yeah, we can build something out of this. AJ Brinson from the Titans. If you can't see that, I apologise. Tegan Berry, NRLW, Dragons. Roger Tavurosech, the Waz. It's a sign. Joseph Tarpany, Canberra Raiders. And this guy is going to be our second guy in our multi. Well, as our try scorers for Origin, Stephen Crichton, Doggies, also New South Wales Blues. So, from this, let's build it up. So, for Origin, we're going Tommy Dearden and Stephen Crichton, anytime try scorers. There you go. And you know what? I should have saved this for next week. I'm actually sorry, guys. Should have saved that for next week since we do have Origin. Origin is next week. We still have a round of footy. But you know what? I'm going to bench that and we're going to get some more try scorers. But they're our two for this starting, so keep tabs. And then for our multi, 3 anytime try scorers, we're going to go Tarusa Search from the Waz, Joseph Tarpany, and AJ Brimson. Those are the 3. I'll leave them in the description for later. Get amongst it. Let me know if you like that segment. But yes, as always, up the milk. I will see you for a very special episode next week. More Origin to come. Bleed green, up the milk. And if that's not what's not sport, cheers.